this morning, and I assure you that you will not want to miss a single moment of it. First, we will delve thoroughly into the rumors circulating around Jana Duggar. She has emerged from the Duggar at last, brought her family, and relocated to Nebraska, fresh spouse. What does her Stephen Wisman departure will impact the remaining family? Jen is like a second mother to me for a long time with her younger siblings, so her departure may indicate a significant change in the enduring familial dynamic. Would this mark the beginning when the Duggar moves on to something more substantial? Who will be the next person to tackle a hot topic path to a romance with a Duggar? Janica, just recently married, the knot in Jason is now occupied, so where does it leave? James Jackson, everyone who loves Jana, is talking about Duggar. An announcement on a courting is imminent. Stay tuned as we dissect every speculate on who may be the next person to I do. And now we've reached a frightening important reachman. It has been 1,000 days since the court found Josh Duggar guilty of his terrible wrongdoings that scandalized not everyone on earth, not just the Duggar. Think on the effects this has had on the loved ones and Josh's time spent in prison. But prior to concluding, how about we go down? Oh, the memory lane, how embarrassing. Immediately after the event, in which Ben Sood requested that styrofoam be courted by Jessa Duggar, with all the Duggar customs and cups, adolescent social discomfort, but was Jessa more interested in the prospect of receiving wed rather than getting married? Dear Ben, where I'm going to explain it everything, so press that hit the like button, subscribe, and then we'll jump and dive head first into the newest Duggar drama here, and the illustrious being the firstborn daughter. Throughout his life, Jan has consistently been recognized as the one responsible for Duggar's upkeep, clan members assuming substantial duties, and the upbringing of her younger members of the same family who use Reddit to talk about her absence and its possible consequences, while plenty others recounted personal anecdotes to the destabilization of families that occurs when at long last the oldest daughter goes her own way and performs the job as a caregiver. No longer. Someone on Reddit posted this, and it struck me like an enormous quantity of bricks, because my family disintegrate within a year. I left. I just never made the connection shown by the dots preceding this feeling is the conviction that the departure of Jan made quite a hole in the Duggar home, where she serves as a surrogate mother, has become integral to people's everyday lives. Several remarks investigated the ways in which not only do dynamics impact parents, but are you also referring to the younger siblings? If Jana is not there, the house will collapse. In contrast, one user inquired, and another added, no falsehoods found. You may expect Han to be busy at this time, citing one of the daughters of younger Duggars, who may need to wear several hats, duties that Jana took up for long-term detractors of Duggar's parenting style. Under the system, the firstborn girls are usually expected to assume the role of parental responsibilities, and parental involvement ought to be acting like a parent and not a most senior citizens, a commentator said, bringing attention to the continuing discussion about the possibility that the Duggars' too much strain is placed on by dynamic. Also, those who support their oldest daughters are thinking that if Jan weren't there, the Duggar Arkansas house, which is locally known as, also referred to as the mansion or the, through major transformations, people may question whether this change is going to make the younger encourage kids to grow up to be more autonomous, or if the workload is going to be handed over to a different sibling, and even proposed an alternative truth where the elder sisters Jana and would have started on their journey from home to independence, from having to shoulder the care for their younger siblings. Even while Jana has refrained from openly officially moved to Nebraska, many convince yourself that she has already settled there, alongside Stephen, her husband. Departure. The remaining issue is whether a family's adaptation to a world without Jana, or will their relationship crumble without her across the generations of a family's remain together due to her selfless acts. Do you have any idea who Jen Duggar is? Separation is anticipated to lead to a divide in the relatives. or the parents of the Duggars at last take charge and finish what she started abandoned, and our next stop will be a steaming pile of future plans for the Duggars. James Jackson's courtship with Jana and Duggar recently tied the knot. Jason was now involved with the knot. Quite a few people are already asking when these. Do you think Junior Duggar will do the same? Will soon witness a romance declaration, so let's dissect the rumors and loyal speculating about potential walkers to follow going down the aisle after Janet Duggar made her eventually the knot with Stephen Wisman. Her younger sister now enjoys the limelight. Family members, admirers have been wondering that occurred between Joanna and James Jackson. Courtships are possible for Duggar and finally tie the knot when James is 23, Jackson 20, known as Jonah, and 20 others. It seems like Hanny is turning 18 this year, the optimal moment for a minimum of one of their beginning to take steps toward court. First, we have James Duggar. Captain captivated audiences for a long time. Think James may have been involved with someone about Lauren Caldwell in particular. After the renown of an incident, a few of James and Lauren were apprehended a long time ago during a fairly seductive conversation, creating a smash cake to celebrate a baby's arrival, alongside his little sister Jenny. Encroaching on in its role as a supporting actor, it appeared as a classic pre-Chip Duggar moment. Nonetheless, the matter was never formally resolved. Lauren has been sporadic ever since, spending time in a relationship that includes a breakup involvement, which makes admirers question whether James remains a spectator ready to Arthur, considering his age. Has he progressed? Suggest that James could already be involved during the pre-courtship stage. And we pay attention to a romance proclamation on the Jackson. Duggar will be on the in contrast, seems to be taking their time to calm down. He's just 20 years old, relatively young in Duggar terms, and there are plenty who think he'll stay unattached for the years to come. The ones that Jackson had. One's character is defined by inconvenient in the way that fourth grade boys do might potentially make him an unpredictable factor in throughout the course of seeing. Although Duggar standings within the family often result in relationships throughout their early 20s, therefore it's maybe Jackson might shock everyone. It has been suggested by certain enthusiasts that possible partners, which may include the first woman's 17-year-old daughter, is in a tight race for the era of Jackson. At last, we have Trina Duggar's youngest daughter, Jana, who might perhaps join romance, despite the fact that her admirers have observed that Jana is a member of a more recent spotlight on the Duggar family. It may indicate her impending during the wooing period. When it's all potential future, there's an intense sentiment, a few supporters who think Haney may be the just before getting hitched, particularly thinking about the Duggar family's past marriages between teenage girls. This early 20th century fan hypothesis claims that Doug parents may already have fallen behind the scenes, setting up possible matchups for their kids the moment they reach at 15 years of age. The Duggars have been celebrated for practices of courtship. Finding success requires parental participation, discovering the perfect harmony inside their Fae population group. As a result, James Jackson most certainly, or maybe Jonah, is about to declaration of a courtship. Before we so, what do you believe James's future hold? One of the subsequent Duggars to begin courting, or would Jonah be able to shock everyone by defeating going to the altar with her brothers? And what about, will he hold off a little longer, Jackson, to finally find a comfortable place to call home? And the one about which we just must speak, nearly 1,000 days have passed since Josh, the court judge, Duggar, guilty of his horrific unlawful acts. Yes, I did say that. One, the time that has elapsed since the word Josh. The world was rocked by scandal. I can see the days seeming much longer in prison. Isn't it incredible that it seems like it was just yesterday. In a state of compulsive screen gazing, we being aware of breaking news as it unfolded that the vehicle dealership where he was employed was ringing, and the amount has transpired since then. Yet In some way, we are experiencing a novel state of consciousness for everyone who paid close attention, for example, via the Reddit news posts or this channel. It's almost very rapid passage of time go by. And we mustn't overlook that IF cup, the sneer, the terrifying smile. Mysterious enough to make you wonder what's happening. Many have pointed out what's behind those eyes, that they're the ones that wear smiles that is shockingly typical of psychopaths, so arrogant and unconcerned with reality. We've all been here for 1,000 days. Yet I hope he perceives it as more of $1 million, and Josh has obviously spent large portion of this 1,000 days. He has attempted to overturn his conviction, every single resource, every single moment, enough resources to battle his way out of prison, yet justice persists. Even the highest courts are turning him, they say, this send. And let's face it, they are relieved to learn that his efforts are failing, and although Josh resides in a cell, even now Anna Duggar on the outside eagerly awaiting her partner. Many of us are devastated to return home. It has been suggested to her that her whole value lies in bearing more children, stuck with an outdated set of beliefs admirers have always desired her in a female form, her to come to her senses and understand that. Couldn't say I blamed her for ditching the madman known as Josh. The nightmare period, when such phrase was announced, it sounded like a grow yell across a variety of social media platforms. The Reddit very nearly collapsed due to the elation felt by everybody anxiously awaiting word of his destiny. At 1,000 days may seem like a long time, but hopefully Josh will be able to make it in the end. Scurrying pasted, maybe he has even picked up the struggle through it all, and many have suggested what his experience with jail justice has been like. We've reached the 1-day mark. We raising a glass to the dream that Josh Duggar remains put for a considerable amount of time at this point in time before his inevitable time may be running out for release, but it seems like to hoping he stays for an additional 1 million days. Comment here.